Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are. On the face of this very planet, we welcome you to a landmark edition of our broadcast this very unique day, the 15th day of January 2020, with the time now standing at approximately 3 minutes past 7 p.m. in the sacred land of Biafra. I welcome each and every one of you. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, irrespective of where you are domiciled. We are coming to you live. We are direct and, of course, interrupted, as we know they will try to do each time we advertise on time that we are going to be on air. Our enemies are not resting. We are not resting either. It is our responsibility and our duty to redouble every effort to ensure that we stretch every sinew in our body in the propagation of this message of hope, of restoration, this very message of enlightenment, a message of renewal, a message of a new birth, a message of the emancipation of not just the people of Biafra, but everybody unfortunate enough to inhabit the sub-Saharan African continent. Because Biafra is the light, they acknowledge it secretly, they openly pour scorn on it, but we know it and we proclaim it to the hearing of humanity that Biafra has come to stay. There is nothing our enemies can do about it. We are resolute and we are determined. We are relentless because we will not retreat. We will not surrender. Our march towards Biafra is inevitable. The sovereignty of Biafra is a certainty that there is nothing our enemies can do about it. This evening we shall enlighten ourselves. This evening we shall lecture. This evening we shall tutor our people. This evening we shall bring to the knowledge of humanity the level of conspiracy, the level of hatred, the level of destruction that these forces of iniquity have joined together to unleash against the children of the Most High. We make no apologies to anybody. We are a special breed of people. Very, very special. We make no apologies. We are the best of the best, the finest of the finest that you can find anywhere. No apologies whatsoever. The fact that some evil forces doing the bidding of Lucifer have risen and connived against Biafran people will not and can never make us forget who we are, where we are going to, and the inevitability of the restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon the face of this very earth. And that is Biafra. Our enemies understand it. It is about time that our people also do understand it, because we are not going to stop until Biafra is restored. They have been lying to us for very many years. They tell us all manner of nonsense, that the war has ended. Of course it hasn't ended. Who told it has ended? Those people congregating, I don't know where they say that, always in Lagos. They cannot congregate in Enugu because it's polluted. They cannot congregate in nowhere because the gods of the land are against them. They cannot congregate anywhere in Biafra land because they know they have polluted the land. They run all the way to Lagos, as usual, in their useless, senseless jamboree, talking nonsense always that the war has ended. If the war has ended, how come Iguacha Seaport is not working? If the war has ended, how come Warri Seaport is not opened? If the war has ended, how come Calabar Seaport is not working? If the war has ended, how come there is no international airport? If the war has ended, how come our roads are in such a deplorable condition? If the war has not ended, how come there is unimaginable unemployment afflicting the youth of our land? If the war hasn't ended. The war has ended, my foot. Today we have come to preach this very noble gospel. Today heaven will bear us witness that here on this platform we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But before we proceed, I must remind our listeners from all over the world that the powers that be, those that have always maintained the conspiratorial and criminal stance that Biafra will never emerge, they have come again this evening. They are on our satellite. We cannot broadcast. The world cannot hear the voice of Nnamdi Kanu because they know we drive away demons, because they know very well that we speak the truth. They know that on this platform, this hallowed, this noble platform, this radio Biafra, that Chukwokika Biam out of the kindness of his heart, granted that we may use to propagate the gospel of the restoration of his kingdom upon the face of the earth. That is why they attack us always. Today they have gone after our satellite, that our radios in Biafra land may not propagate this very gospel, but they are mistaken, because we are live on a whole host of platforms. We are streaming live on Facebook. We are streaming on other social media platforms as well. They cannot stop us. They cannot stop us. They did not stop our fathers. They cannot stop us now in this very media savvy age. There is nothing the Janjaweed can do with the help of the British to stop us. Absolutely nothing. They will keep wasting their funds. They keep wasting their money. But the effort on our side is unrelenting. Unrelenting. Until Biafra is restored. Those who doubted us before, they have now come to their senses. They have now realized my name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the grace of Almighty God in heaven, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. We have been called to serve, and we must serve. We have come that the truth may be spoken. It doesn't matter who is hurt or who is injured by the truth that we speak. That truth must be spoken in our time, in our place, this very period. We must pray. It is our duty, our responsibility, and our obligation to call upon the presence of the Almighty God in heaven, because we are as constant as the northern star. We do not move our position. Where we were yesterday is where we are today. People circulate around our pronouncements. They gather and conspire around the policies that we have set in motion, but ultimately they have come to the realization that we are always right. Everything we say is correct. From the Operation Amotokun, the security operatives in the West, to the issue of Ihedioha in the Supreme Court, everything has come home to roost, isn't it? Everything we have said, to those that castigated us when we said that voting is useless in the zoo, to those that kept quiet when Onoyen was sacked, to those whose only job is to recycle the same mantra always, the same discredited, irrelevant mantra of one Nigeria. Let's work in harmony, in peace, and in unity. They are busy killing us. They are busy slaughtering us. They are busy rendering us homeless. They are busy beheading us. They are busy raping our mothers. And all you can think of is one Nigeria. You gather in Lagos to do the end. Do you see how mad these people are? Because let me pray to Elohim before the anger that I have within me for these efulefus will boil over. I cannot speak against the Holy Spirit. I must maintain a very dignified stance because humanity is listening. They want to know what Biafra will become, and that is what we are here to tell them. But we must pray. You must excuse me. You must pardon me. I will pray in the language of heaven, because before the Almighty Creator, in the place that no human can go to, the angels surround the throne of the Almighty. They bow before him. You are holy. We make no bones about it. We proclaim our faith very boldly and without any fear, that we don't have any other God apart from the Almighty in heaven, the creator of the heavens and the earth. That which said, let there be light, and there was light. We go through all manner of pains and tribulation, that your will may be done upon our lives, that the spoken word that came forth from your mouth, that you will deliver your children may come to fruition in our time. That is why we have every hope that Biafra will come, because there is no other than thee. There is nothing that could be compared to thee, O Elohim. Nothing, absolutely nothing. You are the beginning and the end. If we start now to praise thee until eternity, your goodness upon our lives, we cannot begin to recount them all. Therefore, we say that every adoration, every exaltation, every praise, every honor belongs to thee, the only majesty, the only giver of life, the beginning and the end, the architect of our existence, because only thee can make Biafra come. It is not within our might, not within our powers. We are mere mortals. We are nothing. We live but only but in flesh. For one day we shall pass on, but your word shall remain forever. Therefore we call upon thee to have mercy upon us. We call upon thee, O Elohim, to grant us your grace and your mercy, that the fulfillment of the purpose for which Biafra was constituted in the realm of the divine may be manifestedly made abundant in the lives of those that inhabit this very decade. Therefore, we call upon thee to please have mercy upon us. The Janjaweed are in our territory. They continue to use those who cannot say no to additional bag of 1 million naira. The same thing that the British did when they came. So are the Janjaweed, the Fulani Caliphate, doing to us today. There is almost an endless convoy of Efulefus who are willing to betray their own people, willing to betray your children. May their faith, O Heavenly Father, be worse than that of Judas Iscariot, I beseech thee. Be merciful unto your children. Come and have mercy upon us. Come and give us Biafra in our time, that the world may know that we are your children. Therefore, Elohim, Chukwukika Biama Purimi Henani Wena, Wakurina, Jayema Netori, Nozoni Nedichi Chonyam Den Cosima Room Baby, Kehona Nawe Mobebende no. Kiwe Bulia IPOB, Eluni, he no be here, John Quadro, he was a better in Gosi. Kema magi wes you can imagine in a bundiji we went to Basubin and better than Gosi become an better. Have mercy upon us. Forgive us our trespasses, especially those who see in the dark and turn to prophecy of the informants. We ask the Elohim to forgive us in any way our ancestors may have erred. Please have mercy upon us. And remember your word to your children that you will never abandon us. Now is the time, we beseech thee, that Biafra may come and your will may be done upon this very earth. Now and forevermore, we pray. He said, this evening we are going to lecture. This evening we are going to announce things that they have hidden from us from of old. And as usual, our analysis will come precisely from independent sources, not anything that could be attributable to a Biafran, not anything that the world may use to go on their propaganda trips all over the world via the zoo embassies, via Nigerian embassies, to say that we concoct news items. Here we are going this evening to bring to your knowledge the dubiousness of the existence of one Nigeria and the role of the British in it. I want to very definitively this very evening put it to rest once and for all that Nigeria never fought Biafra, because we are Nigeria to fight Biafra. Biafra will defeat Nigeria every blessed day. The war that they claim, that war is still going on till this very day. The war that they claim ended in 1970. That war that is still raging till this very day was fought between the British and the Biafrans. Nigeria was just a proxy. For those who are educated enough to understand the meaning and the context which I am using proxy this very evening, Nigeria-Biafra war was a British proxy war against the stubborn Biafrans. As I shall demonstrate this very evening, when I hear people talk about Murtala Mohammed, when I hear people talk about the dead Buhari, when I hear people talk about Gowon, I hear people talk about Obasanjo, about Adekunle, and all those they claim fought in that very war. I want to put it to all of them, both those who are dead and alive, that it was Britain that fought Biafra, not Nigeria. Fact that will be demonstrated beyond every reasonable doubt this very evening. Therefore, you must get your pen and your paper ready, because we are going to dissect that very war they claim, the war that has continued till this very day, but they are running around in Lagos claiming it ended. Let it not happen again. It's happening. They are beheading our people. They are raping our women. They are establishing their colonies and their settlements in Enugu. They came into Nimbo. They came to Zowani. I don't know what people are saying. It has finished. It has even intensified in recent times. What finished? Maybe in Lagos it finished, because the Fulani succeeded in mirroring what the British did when they came to colonize our people. They get one or two Efulefus from somewhere. They promise them a chieftaincy title. That was how chieftaincy came into our land. Anyway, warrant chiefs, so to speak. As a matter of fact, that was how it came in. The British decided who should be the ruler of our people, not us deciding. The same thing they have done today in Imo State, in the Supreme Court. The same thing they have done. People somewhere always deciding for us, always deciding for us. We have never made any decision ourselves as a people. Nobody asked us when they built their useless one Nigeria. No one asked us. When Zeke was junketing from place to place, he never asked anybody, should we belong or not? These are the consequences today. The events which some people foolishly and hopelessly are commemorating in Lagos started from Nzobo. Nzobo, again, like Zeke, was fighting for one Nigeria. Why is it that our people cannot reason, nor learn, nor understand from history? Why? We are in this mess today because Azikiwe believed in one Nigeria. We are in this mess today because Nzogo was fighting to preserve one Nigeria. We are in this mess today because Agri Ronsi introduced the unitary system of governance in Nigeria, because he was fighting to save Nigeria. Each time we have tried this nonsense of salvaging Nigeria, of belonging to one Nigeria, we have come out worse all the time. Historically speaking, from 1945 to 2020, the same thing is still happening. Our people do not learn. They don't want to learn. They don't want to understand until we are all destroyed in their foolishness. Until we are all destroyed. Our enemies are plentiful. Very, very plenty. You must understand this. We are the chosen children of God in heaven. I'm telling you this. And regardless of what we encounter in this very life, it is a position, it is a mantle that we cannot relinquish. It is a position, a very privileged and unique position, from which that very pedestal we can never climb down, because Biafra can only grow from strength to strength. I assure you. We are broadcasting this evening. People must understand this very, very clearly. Only then can you begin to properly situate the achievements of IPOB. Some of you don't know the amount of enemies we are fighting. You have no idea. You have no conception. You have no knowledge, no understanding of what we are going to, what we pass through on a daily basis. You do not know. Facebook cannot share this very broadcast. If you go on my page, they will not allow you to share it. That is number one. We are fighting it. Even this evening, I'll prove, even Reuters news agency, every news agency in the world has been bought over. You must understand this. Every diplomat that comes to Nigeria in Abuja or Lagos, they have been bought over. You need to understand this. They have even come into our own land to buy over our own people. You must understand what we are facing. You must understand who we are fighting. You must understand the strength of our enemies. Today, our satellite is down. Our radios cannot speak. You cannot share this very broadcast on Facebook. Not at all. They won't allow you to. Now you understand it, don't you? Now you appreciate the enormity of the task before us. That is why we must all of us must be part and parcel of this unique IPOB family worldwide. All of us must be together in IPOB because we are whiter than white and whiter than snow. Elohim revealed things to us years in advance. When we say something and we stick to it, you better join us, you better follow us. Imo State is an example, a very clear example. If one is needed, Fulani have taken over Imo State. But they forgot one thing in their equation, that we are IPOB. We are unstoppable. Facebook can hide the links to my page. They can hide the links to Radio Biafra, London. They can do whatever they like. They will do everything to suppress this very message of hope and redemption. But they can never, ever succeed. That I assure you. We are told that the war ended. This evening, please, make sure you have enough data, because our radio stations, I understand, in Biafra land, this evening, none of them is functioning. Our FM, because Nigerian government have bribed our satellite providers. Each time they know that Nnamdi Kanu is coming on air, they give them money, they shut out our satellite. They give one stupid excuse or the other. Satellite that we pay for, satellite that IPOB pays for on a monthly basis, a substantial amount of money. They shut it down because they don't want the world to hear the truth. Biafra is facing multiple enemies on many fronts. On many fronts, you must understand this. This is the minefield that we have to navigate on a daily basis. Some of the fulefus don't understand. Some people who are ignorant cannot appreciate the level of hard work we have to put into this very effort to get the results that we are getting so far. Some of you have no idea. You have no idea whatsoever. None. That was why Ojukwu failed. Ojukwu failed because of the enormity of the task, because of the enormity of the burden. Enemies everywhere, because we are chosen. People are envious of us, because we are the chosen race to develop, to bring light into Africa. Without Biafra, Africa can never be developed. It is a statement of fact. Africa will never, ever. You can be as jealous, as envious as you like. That is your business. But that is the way that God in heaven made it. That for light to come into Africa, Biafra must be free. That is why Britain is doing everything within its powers. We are not fighting Nigeria. Stop. Nigeria is nothing. We're not even fighting Britain. They're the ones fighting us. Are we fighting them? Are we the ones that try to blow up an airline? Is it not the same Alimajiri that they're supporting? The same northern the same Fulani Arewa Nigeria, the same Sharia Nigeria in the north, are the same people threatening Britain every blessed day. But Britain prefers to work with them than you. Ask yourself why. We are Judeo-Christians. Britain brought Christianity into Biafra land. Ask yourself, why is it that Britain doesn't want to work? What have we done to them? Have you asked yourself that question before? Why is it that Britain hates Biafra so much that they are prepared to kill everybody in Biafra land through the Janjaweed? They can't do it themselves. They need the Alimajiri from the north to do it for them. And the Alimajiri is smarting. Oh, they are very clever. They are very clever. Of course, they are not. We know it is Britain engineering everything. We know it's Britain doing the work for them. We know that. We encounter them. We go on our diplomatic missions, and we know what diplomats are telling us. But this evening, this gospel must be preached. Nothing. You see that go on that interviewing knew nothing about the war. All he did was sit in Lagos. They bring arms. They bring Egyptian pilots. They bring soldiers from Niger, from Sudan to come and fight for them. They never fought any war. They never defeated Biafra. All of you going about saying, oh, Nigeria, you are talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Show me the evidence. Nigeria never defeated Biafra. Britain did. And that's what I'm going to prove to you tonight. They bribed CNN, BBC. They even brought you BBC Igbo. They brought BBC Igbo to us. Some of us foolishly are joining BBC Igbo. Let us. They are agents of destruction within. They are working for the Fulani Caliphate. BBC Igbo is working for them. That is what they have done. Because they know that they can buy over your so-called elders, they can buy over your politicians, they can buy over your journalists. They can do that very easily. It's money that they need. They give them money, they buy them over. But we remain unbuyable. They know they cannot buy Nnamdi Kanu. You cannot buy IPOB. It's impossible. Our conscience, it is impossible. And like a mere so it can never be done. Our pursuit is Biafra, and they know it. They come to you. We are going to Musan Center. We are going to discuss the end of the war. Are you mad? End of which war? Who told you the war has finished? Fulani Aine killing our people, raping our mothers. They're telling you the war is over. You cannot go to school in your own land. Your children are immigrating abroad to try and survive. And you're telling me the war is over. Let Ozemena in Lagos. Are you stupid? This is the type of leadership you have. These are the criminals you have in our land, pretending they go and pay the journalists. The Apex Igbo movement. Apex. Every blessed day. But your life is the same. Your hopelessness is getting worse. Your mothers are being raped. You're not ashamed of yourself. Your grandmothers are being defiled in Ebonyi. You have a governor in Ebonyi. Our mothers are being raped in Ebonyi, and he does nothing. He's telling you, I'm in APC, I'm in PDP, I belong to everybody. What nonsense is that? Is that how you defend your land against these marauding invaders from the north? Is that how you defend your land? Obiano told us that he's working with Mieti Yala in Anambra. And some people are clapping for them. You clap for them. You people are the problem. I do not blame the so-called leaders. I blame the sheepish idiots that, oh my goodness, that pray sing for these people every blessed day. You keep pray singing for them every day. And our lives are getting diminished on a daily basis. You are the ones I blame. The war has not ended. And this evening we are reminding the whole world that the war never ever stopped. As a matter of fact, it is very subtle, we know, but they have intensified it. Intensified it, very much so. Very much so. Because things are happening. I assure you that things are happening, very terrible things. There is a story published by the independent newspaper of United Kingdom. I am very, very sure that this lady, maybe she is a Biafran, I do not know, but her name is Ajibade, which means that she must have, like Onyeko, when he must have married somebody from Yoruba land. Her name is Ije Ajibade. She wrote for the independent newspaper in the UK. It's very, very important that we understand this. She was basically recounting her memories of the war, and she delved into some very detailed, what some people might consider slightly complicated history of the zoo called Nigeria. In this very article, she made some. I want to understand for the life of me why blacks cannot. I say this every time we come on air, that there is something fundamentally wrong with black people that we cannot reason very well. I say it all the time, that we cannot reason very well. When your enemies are plotting your downfall, you must sometimes sit back and take stock and ask yourself, why is this happening? If we are not a credible threat to the neo-colonialists in the zoo, why will they shut down our satellite this very evening that I'm about to come on air? Why is it that Facebook keeps restricting people from going to my page? Why is it that some very notable Biafran writers on social media that I used to see their posts before, I read and I comment, I no longer read from them, but they are there, they existed. Why are they doing all these things to us if we are not formidable? Why would they go out of their way to bribe one idiot to call Dennis Sabo that I think he's a mercenary for Guardian. I think he gets money, he pays Guardian editors, they publish his nonsense. Why would they contract idiots like that to focus on what they claim to be? Let them work to destroy IPOB. How can you destroy? How can you destroy something that created you. That's something that gives you relevance. How is that possible? But that is what they are doing, because there is a conveyor belt of a fulefu. There are people willing to trade their conscience on a daily basis to betray their own family, to betray their people. There are ways that they never finish. They never ever finish. They never ever finish. Nigeria, according to independent newspaper, and factually so, because they won't publish anything that is not correct, Nigeria was created by Britain in 1914. I have said this many times, and I'll keep saying it, because to other races, they may find it, they may absorb it and work with it. But to blacks, we don't do anything with it. I'm telling you again, Nigeria was not created by God. Nigeria was created in 1914. In other words, my grandfather is older than Nigeria. And I keep asking this question. Where did my grandfather come from? If Nigeria was created in 1914, and by then Ozik wasn't born, Tafawa Balewa was not born, or maybe they were about 2 or 3 years old, I don't know. And I will know. But they're the founding fathers of Nigeria. They keep churning out this garbage every blessed day, and your brain, the more they churn out these lies, lie after lie, because they want to maintain one Nigeria. And for our people from the coastal region, that some idiots that will say Niger Delta, or South, or South, whatever they name, or Midwest, whatever new name they're now answering. Nigeria was created in 1914. 1914, not by God, but by the British. So Nigeria is a British interest. It was established for the colonial administrative convenience. It merged 3 separate cultures into one, which is impossible. It's like asking Osama bin Laden and Donald Trump to be in one country. It can never work. It can never ever work. The value system of the Persians, for instance, Iranians, is infinitely irreconcilable with that of, say, France or England. That was how God made the whole world. That was why he had the Tower of Babel, that you may be different, that you may speak in different tongues, because you're not one people. Regardless of how much you pretend, you can never be one, unless through oath you subscribe to one way of life, as they do in America. Before you become an American citizen, you must take an oath of allegiance to the USA. That is the only way. There is no other way. I'm just trying to lay out very brief background so you understand it. The Fulani people are in the north. They conquered the Hausa people. They speak Hausa. So that gave the Hausas the impression that Fulani are with them, but indeed, Fulani ravaged and decimated them. These Fulani nomadic people went to Yoruba land, to Kwara State, to be very precise. They took Yoruba land from them. They converted the Yoruba people into their version of Salafist Islam, Janjaweed. In the East where we come from, we are predominantly Judeo-Christians. They acknowledged it. We are Judeos. I use Hebrew or Judaism to describe the way we were before the white man came. When we used to go to Arochukwu, the same way you have the Kotel, the temple of Solomon, rebuilt by Herod III and by Hezekiah on Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The same way they have a temple there was how our ancestors had a temple in Arochukwu. A temple, not church, temple in Arochukwu. For those who do not know history, when I read from them, I laugh. That is why every of our children will glorify God in heaven by the name we give to them. There is no other God. Chinkuku, that very mighty one, the Almighty, the Alpha and the Omega in heaven, was the God we are worshiping before the British came. And thankfully, we have gone back to that same God, one irreducible God. Not, it doesn't divide into 2, into 3, into 4, into 6, into 10. No, one. Our Father in heaven, as the Lord's Prayer made it very clear to us. Very simple and very straightforward. I want to pull out some of these things so you understand your history very, very clearly. Only then can you understand where the enemies are coming from. Only then can you know where they are coming from. Biafra only left the zoo, did not secede. We were not one people. Nobody asked us where we wanted to belong to. It was a project by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Nzobu took over after a while. He wanted one Nigeria. He grew up in Kaduna. His nickname was Kaduna. He wants to be one Nigeria, to make people feel happy about one Nigeria. The same thing some so-called intellectual buffoons are doing in the South today. Every time they are talking, they keep saying every part of this. You know it is impossible to civilize the North. You know it is impossible. They cannot be like Dubai. They cannot be like other civilized places like Qatar or Oman or Bahrain. Never. They can never be. These are Alimajiri territory. Street beggars by nature. Cattle headers by nature. You can never change them. But those of you in the South, either Yoruba or Igbo, all it is what Nigeria, let us build our country. It can never be great. It's impossible. It can never be great. Nigeria can never be great. You have ingrained Alimajiri feudal system in the North, which you can never change. You can never change. Instead, they will Alimajirize you in the South, which is what they're doing now with their Biafranization, with their Islamization policies. But you do not know, because some of you are daft. You don't reason very well. You claim you're together with 10 PhDs, but your brain is empty. When we told you the simple truth, your PVC is useless. You thought, oh, it's democracy. They started putting Plato, Socrates, all this nonsense. Look at your Plato and Socrates at the Supreme Court today. All that nonsense you are writing, all those things that Hobbes said, something that Abraham Lincoln said. It's finished now in the Supreme Court. It's gone now. All that your PhD nonsense, all that thesis, all that theory, how PVC can help build the road, how PVC can build second Niger bridge, how PVC can make the rain come, even dry season, how PVC is answer to everything. Have you seen it now? Why? Because people who do not believe in democracy are in charge of the zoo. Biafra did not secede. We left when they started killing us. Why did they kill us? Let me tell Alimajiri, I hope everybody is listening this evening very clearly. The coup came about because Nzobo, an Igbo man, wanted one Nigeria. He wanted a good Nigeria. Some nonsense some of them are doing today. They want this Nigeria to be progressive. Everybody will go to school. But they don't want their children to go to school. Nnamdi Azikiwe asked them to send their kids. They said no. And when I asked them to send their kids to school, they said no. They told the British, we don't want that education here. That is the meaning of Boko Haram. From the beginning, this Boko Haram you're seeing today, from the beginning, their emirs never wanted their children to go to school. Never. If they don't go to school, how are you going to civilize such a people? How is that possible, I'm asking you? They can't read, they cannot write. You have professors who can barely spell their names, and you're saying, oh, we will build, this country is going to be great. It is, you know, you're lying to yourself. It is impossible. Nzobo said he wanted to be part of one Nigeria. Nzobo was angry with Ahmadu Bello and all the corrupt politicians from the zoo for stealing money, anti-corruption crusade. He went ahead and they started killing people. They killed people in the north, in the west. But no Igbo politician of note was killed. Listen very carefully, that is the truth of the matter. Are you going to kill Dr. Michael Okpara, that at his time had the fastest growing economy in Africa? The economy of Eastern Nigeria under Okpara was growing at a rate of 40% every year. Listen very carefully to this, to what I'm saying. I said 40% every year. How can you kill him? Alimajiri got upset that Michael Okpara wasn't killed, Nnamdi Azikiwe was not killed. They went on a rampage and they killed top-ranking Igbo officers. They eliminated all of them in the army. That was how they started. They killed every Igbo officer in the army they could lay their hands on. They killed Akironsi. It wasn't enough. The likes of very genocidal Buhari. Then he was 33 years old, Buhari then, but he's still 71 today. I saw the claim. Buhari, as a 33-year-old, wanted to avenge the death of the Sadwana. He wanted, what they came to do in our land was what they did with the Emeka Ofo, to kill everybody. and allow only children from the age of 10, male, to survive. That was their plan with the British. These are according to official government papers released in Britain. Their plan was to kill every male child in Biafra land. You know the thing about it, when they commit these atrocities and you ask them, oh, it's propaganda, it's propaganda. But their own documents, their own war records, their own archives always prove us right. It is there. They failed. Now listen to the catalog of mistakes that put us in this mess we are in today, that some of you writing for your Fulani masters on Facebook or other social media platforms. I want you to understand this very clearly, that the nonsense you're doing today, promoting one Nigeria, has been done before in the past. Look at where we are today. One Nigeria was promoted by Azikiwe. One Nigeria was promoted by Ironsi. It was one Nigeria that led Zogo to the coup, January 15 coup of 1966. He wanted to preserve one Nigeria. He grew up, I grew up, I'm a detribalized Nigerian. My name, he speaks Hausa very fluently. He had Yoruba friends, he had Hausa friends. He was very close to Obasanjo. Look at the mess we are in today. Some of you, having seen all the mess we are in as a result of the one Nigerian misadventure of Zeke, Ironsi, and the rest. Some of you, even 2020, are still committed to that rubbish of your one Nigeria. Our sister is telling us here that millions of Biafrans died as a result of deliberate government policy of starvation by Awolowo. Awolowo thought the same. That is why I'm being very honest. You see this generation of Yoruba, this very one, these ones we can work with. You see this generation that set up this Amotekun or whatever they call it, this Operation Amotek, these very people, this generation of Yoruba that set up vigilante. I'm not talking about the Yoruba of Tinubu, those that have sworn allegiance to the caliphate. I'm talking about the proper Yoruba. Those that set up this vigilante, we can work with them. And we must commend them for what they have done. I never knew they would have the courage to do it, but they have done it. And I commend them. And if they need men, we will supply them men. And I can assure them tonight, and heaven will bear me witness. I am a Biafran. Everything I say, every word I utter, I stand by it. And I say to Yoruba today, we will stand by them through thick and thin. If they need 1 million men, we'll give it to them, to make sure that Fulani will not destroy what they have set up. We are prepared to do that. We have gone beyond the history of the past. That we can assure them this very evening, without any provocation, that IPOB, the entire by IPOB, I mean the whole of Biafra. We speak for Biafran people. We are saying to them today, this generation of Paaya Debanjo, that man, may God bless him, Paaya Debanjo, this generation of Yinka Odumakin, this generation of course, my very dear friend and dear brother, Femi Kayode, who I credit with making the Yoruba people very strong. This very generation that set up this Amotekun or whatever they call it, we can work with them. I assure you, we can work with them. They starved us to death. Of course, despite everything that Awolowo did, we will work with them because it will not go down. This, well, of course, our own, will come in spectacular. We started everything that is happening today. We did with BSS. And do you think we have forgotten? Of course, now we are coming back in style, in very massive style, very soon. We do things in a very special way that catches the attention of the whole world. But some of you don't know how far we have gone. Very soon you will know. We fought to free ourselves from Nigerian oppression and from the lingering vestiges of poisonous colonialism. That is why, listen carefully, let me tell you the meaning of poisonous colonialism according to our sister. Very poisonous colonialism. It's called neocolonialism. That is why a Jokuta steel mill can never work. They have a Jokuta, but it's not functioning. You know about textile mill? They sold it to some Indians that shut it down to import textile from India. That is called poisonous colonialism. They don't want us to develop. Britain knows, a sizable, significant portion of Europe knows this, that Biafra is the key to Biafra is the key, or to God, the key itself to free Biafra from bondage. They know. So what have they done? They focused all their effort to suppress Biafra. But you will not know. It's very subtle. Very, very subtle. You will not know. Every journalist working in Nigeria has been brought over by Nigeria. I said each and every one of them. AFP, Reuters. See, large sums of money have been given to their CEOs to abandon Biafra. If you don't talk about them, nobody will know they exist. That's the trick they have used. Britain used it during the war. And where we managed to get any news out, Britain will write and say it is propaganda. That picture of a starving child is propaganda. Britain never came out till this very day to apologize for misleading the world. Nearly 5 million people died, according to Irish records, Irish Catholic Church. Britain sat on it. The second worst genocide after the Jewish Holocaust. But because we are black people, we don't own the media, we have nobody to give us arms, nothing. They suppressed us. And after the war, what did we do? We did not learn from history. Jews were killed the same way they're killing us today. Jews were killed throughout history. The Spanish Inquisition, every manner of revolt, they blamed them for it and they killed them until they decided that if we don't go back to Israel, we will no longer exist as a people. That's why they went back to Israel, and they had to fight their way in. That is why what some of you want to do to us, as your Fulani, you Mbaka and his group, mostly in Enugu. I don't know why. These idiots, they're always based in Enugu. That is all these idiots are that nonsense of it. They're always in Enugu. I have no reason why that is the case. But thank God for the hardcores we have from Enugu. Brother Chick of CHK that got us going from Enugu, hardcore. If not, I'm telling you, the same nonsense you're doing now has been tried before. I'm saying this to them. They have tried it before. They did not succeed in getting us right. To take a, so you think that Alimajiri will allow you as a Biafran graduate to come out and excel in the office and they're looking at you? Do you think Nigeria will ever one day have a level playing field? The people telling you about one Nigeria, ask them why. I can't understand this. Our people sometimes. You have a seaport in front of your backyard in Iguacha, in Calabar, in Warri. They shut it down and ask you to go to Lagos to go and import your container, and you cannot ask yourself a simple question: is this fair? Oh dear me. We fought for freedom, and that nonsense is still going on till this very day. The killing of Biafran people still going on. Still going on till this very day. Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. Biafra will never go away. That I assure them. Instead, Biafra is coming in our time. You know, I read in England, so I know how to fight campaigns in England. Some of you do not know. I gave you an example before of the Hillsborough disaster. They went time after time, no public inquiry. The police people who were found negligent. No, nobody. No, you can do whatever you like. We won't do anything about it. Eventually, they got justice. It's something with the Easter uprising in Northern Ireland that some of you may not know about. They kept fighting until there was justice. This very IPOB, this very Biafra. I want to assure Alimajiri of something. We are not going to stop. They said because Ojukwu joined Nigerian politics and because some people use the name of Biafra to go and enrich themselves with Nigeria, the same thing. Kanu will do the same thing. We are waiting for him. He will do the same thing. They don't know me. They have no idea who I am. That this was the same reason why I was born. Only for this very work, nothing else. Only for this work, to restore the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. That's why we have come. Nothing more, nothing less. So what are you going to give to me that is greater than the kingdom of God? I'm asking, so you're coming. Oh, what does he need? Let's give it to him. Can you give me the kingdom of God, which is what Biafra is? Can you give me the kingdom of heaven on earth, which is what Biafra represents? You can't. So we are unbuyable. How can you buy us? We are unbuyable. That is what Britain did. There is somebody who wrote in an article titled "Who Killed Biafra?" His name is Stanley Diamond. Some of you do not know that Médecins Sans Frontières, this is Doctors Without Borders from France, started because of Biafra. You read it, maybe you come across it on social media, you read it and you just throw it away. Oh, it happened though, you throw it away. And you keep writing your one Nigeria rubbish. Oh, you insulted the Cape mother. Because of that, this year Biafra. You insulted Nangomodo. This year Biafra. I look at these fools and I laugh at them. Because they are foolish. These people you are mentioning, are they not the people responsible for your hopeless state you're in today? That condition you're in today, are these people not responsible? Are they not responsible? Have you not seen what they have done in Yoruba land? Have you not seen what Governor Autumn is trying to do in Benue State? Have you not seen what people do when they want to defend their own people? You have a governor from Anambra saying, we are working with Mietiala. If you kill any Anambra indigenous, you both have 100,000. People are clapping, hey, we hail governor. Unbelievable. After the war. I'm telling you people, I mean, some of you are a disgrace. I don't know how you can say you're a Biafran or you have a Biafran blood in you. I don't understand it. I just don't. I cannot fathom it. Not for 1 second. This person wrote a very compelling article. Who killed Biafra? I can assure you it is not Fulani. Let me say, I say this to Britain because I'm an Anglophile. Everybody knows how much I love Britain. Their way of life. I keep saying it that the most reasonable people, if you go and you discuss with them, they are very reasonable. They're the ones who abolished slavery before USA. They abolished slavery. There are some bad elements whose job it is to make sure that Africa does not see the light. Some of you don't know this, but we know. Because we go into places where people can't enter. Some of you can enter there. Some of the places we have been to, you can not in a trillion years, you can't go there. That was why Jubril was panicking and was saying to the US ambassador, people with access. It is IPOB that I'm talking about. People with access to government all over the world. Where people can't enter, we enter that very place and petition. You must understand these things. Not you pay one useless Dennis of a news contractor that can write for Lucy. Anything you ask, he will write. Maybe on our own foundation village, looking for cement and gravel to complete the foundation. Maybe he gave him some change. He took on the contract of saying he will rubbish IPOB. Oh dear me. Vanguard will be in trouble. Vanguard newspaper. You don't take time. This man wrote, "Who killed Biafra?" And from what he is writing here, it is very, very clear. It is very, very clear that those that killed Biafra, I want to mention them for you so you understand. Oh dear me. Oh dear, unbelievable. 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 Britain. Remember that during the Biafran War was the Vietnam War, the height of the Cold War between the East and the West. They were not meant to be talking to each other. But according to British government papers, Britain, when Britain goes to UN that time, and no, we don't want any escalation of the problem. We don't support arms being given to either side to continue this war. People are suffering. But meanwhile, according to United Kingdom documents, UK government papers, not IPOB papers, not Biafra papers, the same British government went to Russia and asked Russia to supply Nigeria with weapons. Meanwhile, they were busy enforcing the blockade of Biafra's territorial waters. So we cannot receive any arms, either through the sea or through the air. Do you now follow me very carefully? The same thing that Oliver North tried to do in Nicaragua under the Reagan administration. They did not supply, they didn't want to supply the Contras direct. They went through Iran. Have you heard of the Iran-Contra affair? The same thing, exactly the same thing happened in Biafra. Britain, the creators of Nigeria, the colonial master, not God, the creator of Nigeria is Britain and not God. Anybody mentioning God is suffering from inferiority complex. It was Britain created Nigeria. Britain went to Russia and said, these niggers, these monkeys from Africa, jumping all over the place, they're called Biafrans, those niggers, they want to teach them a lesson, to let them know that we are the only people allowed to create them. Who are they to say no to what we created? Some of you don't know that they're boasting in Europe. When I ask them, they look at Africans and they laugh at us. They say, we created you. The boundaries you have, we created them for you. You are nobody. Once you're a Nigerian, you're a product of the British. You are nothing but a zoo animal. You must understand this. It's a simple fact of life. A very simple fact of life. They see how clever they are, British. They packaged Nigeria very well. They said, no, we can't give it to Awolowo, we can't give it to Zeke. These ones are educated, they went to school. Let's give it to Alimajiri. So through Alimajiri, they can still control your life. And now, let me tell you how these things have now unfolded. Because today, Alimajiri is doing the same thing. You have seen the mathematics they have done at the Supreme Court. They have concluded that it is now also them. When everybody knows that nobody can win. The election to the House of Assembly was held on the same day as the governorship election in Imo State. But Fulani needs to control who controls you. So they gave you Uzodinma, Hope Uzodinma. So through Hope Uzodinma, as Britain is now doing to the zoo, through the Fulani Caliphate, they can control all of you in Imo State. They can bring in Ruga. They can bring in Fulani settlement. They can kill our mothers. They can rape. They can abduct. Nothing will happen. Do you see how they take you over? Those who claim that they are spiritually inclined, like they are religious, like Mbaka, who is basically a village informant. They go to him and they say, your people, they love God so much. They believe in God. Anything you say in the name of God, they will follow you. Why don't you say that God gave you a revelation that those of them will win? It's called kite flying. I know why IPOB kept quiet. Once he made that comment, it was kite. They wanted to test the water to see if they bring in if Imo people will rise up, or if there will be some kind of disquiet in the land. Once he said it, and the fools that some of us are, you went, oh, Mbaka's prophecy. They said, okay, those idiots are talking about prophecy. Let's give it to Hope Uzodinma. That's how he got it. That is how we are the architects of our own destruction. We bring destruction upon ourselves. Those idiots that write on social media, those fools that claim, oh, we are writers, we can write. The thing with it is that you spend 1 to 2 weeks writing an epistle. Have you seen any of them on a live one-to-one interview before? That they cannot pronounce any common word in English. They struggle. But if you allow them, they go to their broken screen or Chinese phone. They type and they copy articles and they edit from abroad. You say, hey, that man is a wordsmith. He has spoken. Do you see what he wrote? Rubbish. Put a microphone in his mouth live. I said, please tell me all those things that you wrote in Facebook the other day. He won't tell you anything. Because he knows nothing. His brain is empty. They plagiarize. They doctor documents and they bring it and you think it is their original idea. They know nothing. If you want to know somebody like Tanko, they say Tanko is a chief justice. Place microphone in front of him. I think somebody tweeted that after watching Tanko in Supreme Court, he lost every hope in the zoo. It's something I've been telling you from day one, but you won't listen. Those who fought the war was Britain. Britain was fighting the Biafran people because of British hatred for the Igbo man. Britain hates us. Please, I must caution, not every British person, no. Their government at the time that have carried the policy forward, and I will tell you why they are doing it till today. Have you seen the reaction of France towards the dismantling of CFA, that currency that through which France have been basically enslaving some West African countries? That's normal. Have you seen it at all? That's the reaction. Imagine it's like building a house that you've put tenants in that very house. Every month you go and collect rent from your tenants. And somebody is telling you, oh, I want to dismantle the land is mine. I want to dismantle it and build something better. That's what we're trying to do. Do you think, will you say no? Even as a human being, will you say no? You will say, will you say yes? Go ahead. Of course you will say no. That's what Britain is doing to us. Britain built Nigeria. They take pride in it. Do you know what it means? There is a song, not actually a song, it's actually a verse in the good book. It says, it's only God in heaven that can build a nation, not man. So when Africans allowed Europeans to come and create nations in Africa, what we did was to hand over to the British. What we did, in essence, was to hand over to the British that title or that very recognition which only God in heaven can have. You must understand this. That is why they don't want to see Nigeria dismantled. Not that maybe some British people may not love Biafra, no, but they created, you know what it means to create a country? They came, they huddled now, allegedly 200 million people together in one cage called Nigeria. They love it. They created you. Some people come and say, oh, but God made Nigeria. Is it in 1914? Where is it in the Bible that God made Nigeria in 1914? Where is it in the Bible? I'm asking, tell me where is it in the Bible that God made Nigeria in 1914? They say the will of the people is the will of God. I agree. But did the people actually come together to create Nigeria? Is the answer not no? Is the answer not no? I am asking, is the answer not no? How do you think, therefore, that Britain will allow you to break up their own creation? You are their toy. You are a toy to them. You are a plaything to them. They derive joy from it. It was Britain that fought Biafra, not Alimajiri from the north. They keep lying. They keep lying every blessed day. We fought the war. Our children fought the war. Very, very sad indeed. Britain wanted our oil. The same, they're very clever. It is the same logic and the same argument that when you go to an Igbo man in Ikwere, I read, of course, I know that's tongue in cheek, I'm not going to refer to that. Somebody will say, oh, but you want us for our oil. Do you see how foolish certain people are? Naturally daft. Daft by nature. 70% of the oil being lifted. 70% of oil being lifted from the coastal regions of Biafra land comes from the hinterland. 70%. 70%. And Britain doesn't want to let go. So you must understand. Look at IPOB. Of course, we're not fighting Britain, heaven forbid. No, of course, no, we are not. But ideologically and morally, we are fighting them. This IPOB. And we are winning. We are fighting them and we are winning. It is only by the grace of Elohim that Biafrans exist till this very day. You know what they did? They use what is called gerrymandering. They carve out the borders. They tell you, oh, you're no longer together. You're not one people. You are equal. You are from Abonema. You are from Obone. But they're only speaking people, by the way. Their mothers tie two-piece wrapper with headscarf. We all know that very well. But no, you're not together. But Alimajiri will come from Senegal. Alimajiri from Fatajalon. And trace his relatives all the way to Kogi. Unbelievable. And they always hold on to NMPC. It is their thing, NMPC. That is the interest of Britain. Britain is who controls the oil. That is why Britain will always fight. That's one of their own, in so-called northerners, so to speak, is at the helm of NMPC. Very, very sad indeed. Those who fought against Biafra, even the State Department papers, if you go to New York Times, it is there. It is the British that fought against Biafra, not Alimajiri from the north. The British did. Not Nigerian soldiers want to commemorate those that. No, not you. It's the British that fought Biafra. If we are to fight the Alimajiri, any blessed day will defeat them. And they know it very, very well. We'll defeat them. We will defeat them. Therefore, we must continue. The time now is exactly 8 minutes past the top of the hour. Regardless of where you are around the world, is a live presentation. Radio Biafra, they have shut us down on satellite. We are not transmitting on satellite this very evening. Our radio in Biafraland is not broadcasting. As a matter of fact, this very broadcast is not going out live to our people because our enemies are at work. Our enemies are at work, but we are defeating all of them. We are defeating all of them. There is another white person called Karen E. Smith. She wrote a paper, The UK and Genocide in Biafra. The UK, United Kingdom, was part and parcel of the genocide, of the death of 5 million people because they want our oil, they want our gas, and they want to impose Alimajiri over us. They see Biafra as the light of the world, and they want to extinguish that very light, that very glory that we must fight for. We must make sure that Biafra is restored in our time, that his glory may descend from heaven to that very Africa that they have scorned for centuries. In late August of 1968, this is the UK and the genocide. A British proposal. Nigeria announced that it will allow international observer team into the country to show that it was not pursuing a campaign of genocide in Biafra. Even the world, they knew that there was genocide. But Britain always, I told you, Britain always at the forefront. Always at the forefront. British proposal. Come and see there is not genocide. It's just like when they killed us at Tumpo, after the destruction at Tumpo, and they're the ones that told the Fulani Alimajiri soldiers, if you kill them, take their corpses. So there'll be no evidence. So when you tell them that our people were killed at Tumpo, they'll say, oh, but where are the dead bodies? Any day we march. My goodness. Some of you, those who know me, will always understand anything I say that I will do it. When I say the zoo will fall, the zoo will fall. Write it down on a piece of paper, the zoo will fall. Watch and see what is going to happen. It's only will you have the stomach for it when we commence? Will you have the stomach to so even now when we ask you not to vote, that you're wasting your time, you start complaining. Talk less of mounting a sustained campaign for many years to be free. That is why I respect Eritrea and I respect Southern Sudan. I respect them. Freedom is not cheap. When it's time to fight, we are coming home and we're going to do it. Unless they decide and give it to us so that we can go the same way we were before the white man came. My contention tonight is this. Britain cannot assume the role of God. You cannot do it. You are not God. You're a white man from Europe. You are not God in heaven. God is in heaven, not in Europe. I want somebody to go to Google tonight and type in who created Britain. Simple assignment. I ask you to do all the time. Write in there who created Germany. Go to Google and ask Google. Then write who created Nigeria. They'll tell you it's Britain. And then you tell me that you're the same as them. No, you're not. You're an animal in a zoo somewhere in Africa. Britain pushed for the observer team to be created to try to bleach out all the incriminating evidence against them. They were never, ever objective. Some of you should go and research it. In Alimajiri in the north, they don't read. The highest place they get their news from is that very corrupt Channels TV and Daily Trust. That's all. That's the place they get their news from. And what do they know? Alimajiri, the answer is no. They're not educated. They're not well read. If they're well read, they will understand that Britain fought Biafra through them. They did not fight Biafra. They did not defeat Biafra. That is a statement of fact. A statement of fact. Britain was more interested in making sure, that no arms got into Biafra. Meanwhile, they were busy arming Gowon, giving him all the arms. We have defeated the rebels. We defeated the rebels. I led the second commando. We defeated the when it was Britain that actually did the war, fought for them. You came to Biafra and you tied our hands behind our back. We still fought a war for 3 years. That war you can no longer fight. You're fighting it in very subtle ways. You shut down our industries, our glass factory, our paint factories. None of them is working. Absolutely none. Even in Nelson cannot receive any help from the government. They went outside to go and bring an outside firm to come in to give you whatever automotive needs that you may have. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Some people are still saying we are part of it, can be salvaged. They have now given them their new nonsense 2023 presidency. They see this 2023. That is where you will know how powerful IPOB is. And I'm saying it now. No amount of pressure, no amount of blackmail, no amount of rubbish will change our mind. That new hope of Igbo presidency, you should just abandon it. It will never happen. It will never happen. We allowed you. Can you imagine if we were said to people, oh, don't vote? This thing now happening to Janjaweed. They will say it is because of IPOB. They'll say that people shouldn't vote. It's because of you that people be lost. Supreme Court being peopled by Fulani and picked reprobates are there delivering judgment that doesn't make any sense, which I'll get to later on. I tell me you want one Nigeria. Those who fought against Biafra are the British. There is also another article that I want you to read. It's called British Interest and Nigerian Tragedy. It is there in black and in white. Written by Michael Lipman. He got his information from cabinet papers. From cabinet papers in the UK, official government, UK government documents papers. Their hatred for Biafra, the UK hatred, natural hatred for Biafra, because we are a blessed people. They came to Arochukwu, they saw our temple, they saw the presence and the light of God in our lives. They said it can never happen. These are black people. How can God love black people? That's why we're in this mess today. How Britain doesn't believe that God can love black people. It's impossible to them. That's why they're doing what they're doing. But we're going to prove them wrong. The war is continuing. It hasn't ended. UK government papers, all these idiots writing about one Nigeria. Nigeria defeated Biafra. Nigeria-Biafra war. I ask you to do a little bit of research. Go and ask questions. Do a bit of research. Go and read up on document after document after document regarding the role the British played in the war. You will understand that Britain, the creator of the zoo called Nigeria, were the ones who actually prosecuted the war. And I'm very happy that these days a lot of people are beginning to repent. Those who were insulting me before, they're now repenting. They now understand that we speak the truth. That if I tell you that Nigeria is a zoo, believe you me, Nigeria is a zoo. If I tell you that Nigerians are animals, I'm telling you the truth. Before God and man, Nigerians are animals. It doesn't matter how you wish to cover it with your local pride. It doesn't matter to us how you wish to maybe see yourself. The fact of the matter is, as long as you are a Nigerian, you are an animal. You can't reason. Because my question to you is very simple. You, as a Nigerian, created in 1914 by the British, can you go to Britain and create a country? The answer is no. Therefore, they are superior to you. And the only thing you can be superior to, of course, is your pet you keep in the house. And everybody knows that a pet is an animal. So that is why you're a British animal. That's who you are. And you never change. That's where your life is going to be forever and ever. Britain fought the war. Not Alimajiri, not the zoo. Therefore, this year in 2020, we must be very vigilant. Biafrans, we must redouble our efforts because our enemies have redoubled their efforts to deny us media space and to use certain journalists of Igbo extraction to discourage our people from following the path of truth and light, which IPOB represents. One day is Sabo. Anywhere he is seen in Biafra land, my goodness, he will get the IPOB treatment. He has been paid by the Fulani North to spread falsehood and propaganda against IPOB. The only institution the Fulani Caliphate is afraid of. I said the only one, only IPOB. We are the only ones safeguarding our land. Without IPOB, they would have overrun us by now. Everybody knows this as a fact. Ozemena in Lagos. People without shame. No honor. No shame. Very, very sad indeed. They are doing the work of the enemy. BBC Igbo is among. You see BBC Igbo. BBC Igbo is amongst them. You see BBC Igbo. I am the day it will happen. I will tell you. I told you so. Disassociate yourselves from BBC Igbo. They are Fulani agents. Britain sent them to destroy us. Look at the way they were gloating over the mess made by Supreme Court by announcing hope. You should have seen the way BBC was. Oh my goodness. BBC Igbo. Unbelievable. Some of you don't know that during the war, Reuters were bought over. Go and Google it. Britain bought over. We were giving them money to doctor their news in 1968. Go and do some research. I'm tired of researching for our people. It's making us very lazy. BBC, we are at the forefront of false news dissemination against Biafra. That is why they can kill us a million times. They will never report it. Never in the truth. Never, ever, ever. Some of you do not know that they ganged up and they have their periodic meetings against Biafra. A lot of European countries know that Biafra is the light in Africa. So what they have done very cleverly is to say to Britain, if you can keep them contained within Nigeria, please keep doing so. We don't want those people to come and emerge as an independent nation, because once they do that, the whole of Africa will open up and the Africans will see the light. And we don't want them to see the light. We need people to, at least we can measure ourselves against. We are human beings and they are animals. But when, black people, black. How I wish that we can reason sometimes. How I wish we can reason. We must be vigilant this very year. Very, very vigilant. When we keep quiet, don't think nothing is happening. This is my first broadcast for the year. A lot is happening behind the scenes. A lot is happening. We are working very hard to dismantle the zoo, and most of our work are being made manifest on a daily basis. Facebook is against us. Google is against us. If you go to Google, no matter the positive news, however, the only ones they wish to highlight for people to read is, Nnamdi Kanu is a fraudster. So says Omagi. IPOB will put Igbos in diaspora in trouble. Oh dear. Life is very strange. Those who we are bought over by the Fulani to destroy our people are claiming that those who are defending our people in truth and in every honesty are the ones who are fraudsters. Do you see the irony of it all? It's just like Mieti Allah, the fourth largest terrorist group in the world, because they're part of course, you know Mieti Allah is Fulani headsmen, going out and saying that people are terrorists when they're the ones actually, they go to your village, they rape, they pillage, they kill, they come out and they say, oh, there are terrorists in this village. Come and ban them. Amalami, ban them, there are terrorists in this village. Whereas are the ones doing the killing? Something is happening in our land. Nobody can come out and say that they bought Nnamdi Kanu's conscience. No one. But once in a while, Dennis Sabo will write something and give to Vanguard. Vanguard will publish for them. And Google will put it on, just to discourage our, we are very feeble, very feeble. Our conviction is not very deep. Look at what I heard. But you don't know if it is true or not. Have you asked? Have you even considered the possibility? I did not take money from Nigeria when I was in detention, when I was in jail, when I came out and they were trooping to my house to come and buy me over, and I said, no. Is it now that they have killed my parents that I will? You people should get some sense. Please. Some are so daft. Some of you will need to go and purchase sense. It's very, very important. Facebook is against us, so is Google, BBC, and other foreign media outlets. They have been contracted to help the likes of Channels TV and corrupt some local corrupt zoo journalists to discredit IPOB, but they have failed. We need to redouble all our efforts to make sure we have multiple relay stations across Biafra land IPOB family members in diaspora are hereby mandated to make sure there is a minimum of 5 separate relay stations in every state in Biafra land. That is the way we can counter our enemies. They only succeeded in stifling us 50 years ago due to a very successful British-run media blockade all over the world. Some of you do not know the now seemingly respected Reuters news agency were bribed by Britain to present the British Biafra war in a way that demonized our eternal leader. The same thing they are trying to do to us today, but of course we are very savvy. This is IPOB. They know they are not going to succeed. They are wasting their time and their resources. When you observe the attitude of most Nigerians towards things that matter, then as somebody who quite rightly commented, you know what slavery lasted for as long as it did, 250 years. I don't know, selling our people did not start today during slavery. You know, when slavery ended, some of our people were not happy that it ended because their means of income dried up. The same thing is happening today. Somebody makes a living by doing boy work of Alimajiri that didn't go to school, and you're telling them that Biafra will come, everybody will be free, people will be this new shiny nation will emerge in Africa. They will tell you no, they will prefer to be serving the Alimajiri master. Look at Hope Uzodinma. Do you think anything is good is going to come out of him? Let's just consider it for a moment. He just said that he came forth, but all of a sudden he's number one. That is Alimajiri mathematics for you. I have never seen such ruling in my life before. Somebody who came forth is now number one. Oh dear. Oh dear. Today, many of these people will continue to sell us and they will continue to sell every blessed day. Ask yourself if they were serious. They claim that your leaders. Why did you not hold an event in our land to mark the 50th anniversary of what they claim to be the end of what I call open hostilities in the zoo? Why did you go to Lagos? Why? Because they know if they do it in our land, the land will come after them. Why did you do it in our land? Why not? But they ran to Lagos. And some of you are writing, oh, they're in Lagos. They're at Musan Center. In Lagos, not in your land. And you call them your leaders. Our people are very, very funny indeed. How long are we going to allow ourselves, we Biafrans, to be deceived? When are we going to learn? We warned you that PVC and voting is a trap. Unless you're prepared to defend your vote, some of you did not see reason. Because once you get your PVC and you go and you vote, what you have done is to say to those people, do as you wish. Because you can vote for the best man or woman from your town, from your village, from your state, or from a senatorial district. They get to Abuja and the Fulani cabal will decide who goes. All they need to do is, oh, don't worry, just partake in the process. They come to Abuja. That voting you're voting in a human banner, the result of it will be decided by a tanko in Abuja, not by you in the polling booth. Oh, I have voted. This is my card. You're wasting your time. What they're now going to do is that they will go mute for some time. They will keep quiet. And after a while, after a short while, you will see them, they'll come out again. Go and register. Oh, go and vote. Have you voted? Have you registered? It's our turn. Everybody knows it's not possible. They use one thing or the other to get you people into that groove, into that frame of mind of stupidity and ignominy. You fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. At the end of the day, you end up holding the very thin end of the wedge. Look at Imo State. Is he not gone? Is Imo not gone? When I told you not to vote, what did you say to me? Oh, you want to bring trouble in our land. You want to, those are the people who are against the advancement of Ndibo. Or idiots. They didn't go to school. People who went to school only 2 months in 4 years. The rest is strike. You want to compare yourself with people that are actually properly educated. Or you want us to start speaking with Queen's grammar so you will know. I speak the way I do so our mothers in the village can understand what we're saying. Go. They think they know better than us. We know more than you do. You are not actually educated. We are the ones who are educated. And we in IPOB that are educated, they're calling us miscreants. Can you believe such nonsense? We told them that your PVC cannot work. After going to court, some of them are crying as even before. Even when IPOB lost, they came and were crying. Like the little village children they are. I told you, PVC will never, ever work unless you are prepared to vote, stand there and defend it. But you know what they have done? You can stand there and defend it now. As maybe you did. Stand and defend it. They'll leave you. And after 6 or 7 months, you go to Abuja, they will declare a Hausa, a Fulani, not Hausa, please, I'm sorry, not Hausa, a Fulani puppet, they declare him the winner. Now, the result announced in Ugawasa, they now come down to enforce it with Nigerian army and police band with their AK-47 assault rifles, ready to kill anybody at will once you rise in protest. That's it. Some of you, let me now explain something to our people. This is where Yoruba media must take some blame. Let me tell Nigerians what they don't know. The time they were clamping down on IPOB with such brutality and ferocity, what they were trying to do is to make it impossible for you to come out on the streets to protest against them, not to protest for any change. But when you are busy writing your nonsense in Ibadan or Lagos, hey, those people, those IPOB, they are troublemakers. Those people from the East, they are trying to cause trouble. Because some of you don't reason. Because you compromised your conscience when IPOB was being targeted, brutalized, dehumanized, and killed. You supported the Nigerian government. Now it is your turn. Do you know why the zoo said, do you know why Malami said, Amotekun should not stand, this Yoruba vigilante? Because they are hoping that we, being Biafrans, will say, because of what Yorubas did during the war, because of that, we won't support them. This is and then they'll go and clamp down on the Yorubas. They think we are stupid. You see, but we are sensible. That is why IPOB tonight we are pledging. And God in heaven is my witness that we will support Amotekun, will support Yoruba in any way, shape, or form they want it, we'll support them. To hell with Alimajiri Fulani, to hell with them. I said to hell with them. To hell with them. And that is why they know now Amotekun will stay. They made that comment hoping to elicit a response from IPOB. Our response is that we will support our Yoruba cousins. We'll support them. We will support them. We will support them. You people are dreamers. You think you can be using people all the time. You think because a section of Yoruba media was against IPOB during the Janjaweed clampdown, because of that we'll be against. Now we're not like that. We are civilized. We are Biafrans. We are different from other people. Very, very different. So, Operation Amotekun, this Yoruba vigilante initiative has come to stay. It has come to stay. It's not going anywhere. Your PVC and your voting is crap. You may vote in Enugu and put in somebody you like. If that person doesn't play ball with the government of the zoo, they go to the Supreme Court in Abuja, they remove the person, they come back with a squadron of soldiers to guard that very person into office. And he will go to his village, and his village will say, oh, Chineke Gozelang is our turn. God has blessed us, our turn, and that's it. We hardly reason very well sometimes. This new Alimajiri judiciary, where Tanko is the head. Common arithmetic is no longer. I'll go to the arithmetic later on. Common plus and minus of numbers. How can 800 and something thousand people go to registered voters, eligible voters, 800 and something thousand, and then the final vote by the Supreme Court of Nigeria is 900 and something thousand? Where did they get the rest of the numbers from? Nobody can answer. Oh, it's the Supreme Court. It's the final court of the land. It's as God wants it. Supreme Court. Can you believe such nonsense? It's Supreme Court. Supreme Court. 5 people were registered to vote. For instance, for example, those 5 people voted, and somebody came forth. No APC House of Assembly member. No. Maybe now they'll start paying some of them to defect to APC. All of a sudden, the case went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that 8 people voted. But the record from INEC says 5. Supreme Court is now telling us that that 8 people should have voted. Unbelievable. And you claim you love Nigeria. Nigeria is my country. I can't understand for the life. Or is it God that made other animals that made people? Is it some God in heaven? Or something else made you? Where are these judges or justices, whatever they call them? Which planet do they inhabit? Which planet, I ask? Are you sure black people are normal? Are you sure that God in heaven is seeing what is happening? Are you sure that blacks in Africa, are you sure we are created by the same God that made other people? 5 people voted. There's a dispute. They went to court. The court is now telling us that 8 people should have voted. Oh dear Lord, have mercy. But the vote will not stand. Not in Imo State. It won't stand in Imo State. This is direct Fulani rule. That's what it is. The best they can do is to call for fresh elections. I'm saying it tonight. The best they can do, because we are not going to allow one Fulani puppet in Hope Uzodinma to be in Owerri, bringing Ruga and livestock in Owerri. No. It won't happen. They better call for fresh elections with international observers. They will be there, they will monitor, they will announce the results, and that will be the end of it. All this thing that Tanko and Abba Kyari is doing, appointing leaders, appointing politicians for us from Abuja, no, it won't work. It won't work. We are IPOB and they know what we're going to do. The only way out is fresh elections in Imo. I don't give a damn. I don't like it. I don't give a damn. I'm not saying that was useless, but we cannot allow them to impose somebody from Abuja. I am warning again. Remember my warnings before that you ignored? Today you're crying. You see Imo State. If we allow them to impose somebody in Imo, believe you me, everything else you do from here on in is babash. They'll wait for you in Abuja. Once you come to Abuja, they give it to the puppet, and we are finished. That was how they destroyed the great Hausa race. We will be destroyed if we allow Hope Uzodinma. We will be destroyed. Let the people of Imo decide. Abuja cannot decide. Tanko cannot decide. Abba Kyari cannot decide. The Fulani Caliphate cannot decide for us. We must decide. If you're saying that 900,000 people should have voted, okay, all well and good. Let them go to the polls and determine. Not Federal High Court. People saying Federal High Court is the highest law in the land. That is rubbish. It's the highest Sharia court in the land. And we do not obey nor submit to Sharia court nor Sharia law. We are Biafrans. And there is no shortage of fake prophets that will carry their news for them. That is, we must begin to reason. We must begin to ask ourselves questions. We must begin to be self-aware and self-critical. We must ask ourselves very pertinent questions. This way we are going, is it going to be good for us or not as a people? We must continue to ask. Why is it that anytime any idiot that we know is compromised comes out and says something that God told him, we start jumping up and down like a bunch of fools? All these fake prophets misleading our people. The day of reckoning will come, and all the pleadings will fall on deaf ears. I can assure you. We can all remember how we formed the BSS. Have you forgotten? The same BSS we formed, they said it's not good. Some Yoruba people said, no, it's not good. They went and they formed their own, Operation Amotekum. Do you know the funniest part? And what I regard to be the height of hypocrisy is the total condemnation of the formation of BSS by Yoruba journalists, despite seeing the carnage that the Fulani savages brought to Biafra land. But when they faced the same problem, the daughter of Afanifere leader, Jefa Shoranti, was killed. They quickly rallied and formed something similar to what we did with BSS. This is the level of hypocrisy that caused God to curse the black man. We are hypocrites. And all of them, all the Yoruba intelligentsia, their academics, all the Yoruba journalists, all the Yoruba lawyers, everybody is in line. They support it. They support it. But when we formed our own, they are, of course, you know them now, people who are hungry, looking for one Alimajiri to pick them up. What is the difference between BSS and Moteku? None. Just that we started it. We saw something we knew. Look at the same Umahi, those who were behind the position of IPOB because of BSS. Because they are blind. These are blind people, blind mice. You see how they cannot see. They are blind people. Accidental politicians. That's who they are. They are blind. Very blind. But today Yorubas are supporting their own. Do you see why Yorubas are progressing? Do you see why you build your houses in Yoruba land? See the way the reason? They identify a problem, they articulate a solution, implement it. You in the East, you don't articulate, you don't see a problem. Even those who want to solve it, you go against them. We prefer solutions and you come against us. That is your life. That is the way you are wired. That is where you are. You can see where we are today. Now, my Islami, we wanted to do it before. Is it the BSS you disbanded? Who will join them in Biafra land? They said before, Forest Guard, nobody joined them. Because the order from here is this. No Biafran should join anything being organized by any governor because they are working hand in hand with Fulani, Alimajiri in the north to destroy our land. They know they can form anything they like. They can come to paper and pay useless journalists to write rubbish. We are going to form this vigilante. We are going to form that rubbish. They know it's not possible. Who are going to be the foot soldiers? It's not IPOB. Where will you recruit? I'm asking you. If it's not IPOB. I'm sure that next time when we say we are forming, no, not forming, because BSS is always there. We are relaunching BSS, nobody will complain. When next I tell you not to vote, you will listen and you will not vote. And can you imagine if Nigerians had listened and didn't vote in last election? By now, everywhere will be peaceful. There will be orderly disintegration of the zoo. Everybody will be on their own. A new constitution will be agreed and arranged. Everything will be done peacefully. Because you won't see anybody to shoot. But they don't listen. They just don't know what's wrong with black people. They never listen. They never ever listen. Look at Facebook now. According to analysis, if you look at the BBC, you turn it upside down, you put it in, you vote, somebody will emerge, here they will come, and the will be beautiful. Rubbish. Pure bunkum. Rubbish. They wait for you in Abuja. Come to Abuja and they will destroy you there. That's what I have done to Hedion. I don't know who he is and I don't want to know him. He's even part and parcel of the problem from the past. But Imo people must decide who will govern them. If you keep quiet now, we are gone. You see Imo State? They have done it now. Oh, leave it to God. Leave it to Supreme Court. Once you leave it, it's over. Completely over. You have set a very ugly precedent. They will go back and say, in 2020, this happened. That's it. It is called legal precedent. We must insist that we'll be voting in Imo State. That's our campaign. There must be fresh elections in Imo. There must be. The people must decide. Let the people decide. Not Supreme Court in Abuja. Let the people decide. As simple as that. Let them invoke the doctrine of necessity and ensure that democracy remains. You people don't know what Fulani is planning for you. You have no idea. Now I'm saying it sounds like fairy tale when it happens. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu said so. I apologize because before I was attacking you. I never knew what you're saying. Well, of course, I'm always right. You don't want to hear it, but I will tell you. We are on this platform, on this IPOB, on this microphone, on this radio Biafra. We are always right. The time now, I must say, is nearly, should I say, 18 minutes to the top of the hour, regardless of where you are. This is a live presentation. There are people I call Igbo One Nigerians. They always specialize in deceiving other Igbo people to believe in Nigeria. There are those in the so-called South or South. I don't know how many Souths they need. I said before, we keep adding South until you find them very close to Brazil. So I don't know how many Souths they need. All of our people, Biafrans, former Eastern region, all of us, as a people, must rise up and say we want to be free. We must rise up and say we want to be free. Yorubas are always ahead of. We're always ahead. Do you know, because of this Operation Motekun, you will no longer hear of Fulani people raping or killing a Yoruba woman, Fulani people destroying farms, and it's gone. But today I saw a video of our mothers lamenting somewhere in Anambra, in Imo, crying, and their farm has been destroyed. IPOB cannot be everywhere. People sometimes ask us, oh, what do you do? You know, people ask so many foolish questions. The money we give you, what do you do with it? And I said to them, the lives that we have lost in defense of Biafra land, what are you going to do about it? Do you know how many lives we are losing every blessed day? Do you know how many war fronts we are involved in Biafra land? Do you know why the Fulanis don't want to talk about it? They will not get their newspapers to talk about it because they know we are defeating them. They know we are destroying them as they come for their settlements. They know we are disarming them. They know that very well. That's what they want. So you want me to, every day I'll come on the air and I will tell you, IPOB raised $5,000 last month and we did this with this. We did this with this. People are so foolish. We have a case in Abuja. Let me not go too far because the world is listening. The world is listening. The Igbo one Nigerians with us like any and the Igbo Efulefu governors, the Nzuzu, whatever they call themselves, and they're hired online so-called intellectual, inconsequential buffoons who are in essence agents of Fulani Caliphate, always claim they know too much than those. They call us miscreants and urchins and urchin asked you not to vote. You voted. Now you're crying. Dear me. That's nothing we will not see. But converse in actual sense, they are the ones with a herd mentality that somebody quite rightly argued. They have nothing in their brain. They go, they pick up dictionary, they look at words. If you think I'm lying, go and interview any of them tomorrow. Just put microphone in their mouth and say, okay, speak about that thing you wrote 2 days ago. You see, they won't know what to say because they are dumb. They are dumb. They opposed me. The same Yoruba today that formed Ametukun, they opposed me when I formed when IPOB formed BSS. Because I only lead IPOB, I only represent IPOB, their views and their opinions. That's what I represent. I was opposed, called all sorts of names. I was summoned by Senator Baribe. I had to answer him. He summoned me to his house and I had to go and answer him. Yeah, he asked me, are you armed? I said no. He said, why BSS? I explained everything to him. He said he saw reason in it. But those who didn't have the courage to summon me to come and see them, I call it summoning because he's my senior, he's my elder. If he summoned me, I will go and see him. That's our tradition, that's our culture. He summoned me, I went to his house to go and see him. Senator Baribe, I went to see him. And maybe some of you don't know this, or maybe you know, I don't know. He asked me, why BSS? And I told him why. And he saw reason in it. Or at least, if he did not agree with the entire modus operandi, but saw that there was a semblance of reason in the, in the idea behind it to defend our land. Everybody saw there was something in defending our land. Because I asked him, do you want our mothers to continue to be raped, their crops destroyed? He said no. I said, that's what we're trying to do. He said, okay, as long as you're not armed, you're not going to fight. I said, no, of course, no fighting, no arms, nothing. But those who did not have the courage to invite me to see them, they ran and gossiped to their Fulani masters. And they say we should be proscribed. They stormed my house and killed my men. As a result of which, my parents took ill, and today they are dead. The Yorubas have done something. What have you done? Apart from one or two of you idiots on social media writing, what have you done? Nothing. The same nonsense every blessed day. Anything the Fulani does goes. Anything the Fulani does is okay. Oh, if they bring hope, fine. They bring that driver to Korocha that said he's contesting before for governor, whatever his name is, it's okay. But even if you bring one Haruna from Kanu and make him Muslim governor, oh, fine by also, it's the will of God. Very funny people. Very funny people. Lagos, what they call the name again? Some stupid rubbish in Lagos. In Lagos, oh dear. Because their roads are so bad that their masters, the Obas and the emirs cannot travel to the east. They can't come to Biafraland because there's no road, there's no airport. All the airports are closed, all the roads are bad. So why don't those idiotic slaves from Enugu and over? Well, hello chaps, why don't you come to Lagos? And they ran to Lagos. This is inside Lagos. Useless set of people. Intellectuals. If that's what we call intellectuals gathering together, then there is a problem. Then we should shut down all the universities because you're producing nothing. The person that made sense was Pat to me. The person that made slight sense because he knows. He knows. He's the only visionary amongst them. When next we start, there will be Biafra because we will fight that war until the end of time. If they want us to fight the war for 100 years, we'll fight it because this 2020, we know now what our fathers never knew between 67 and 70. Now we are far more equipped intellectually to fight this very battle. And watch us decimate the zoo from within, piece by piece. Then in your next life, when you hear IPOB and you hear Nnamdi Kanu, you will say, yes, they came and they did what they said they were going to do. Some idiot will say, what have you done? What have you done? Nothing. If they bring purpose on them, okay, good. Oh, they bring head. Okay, it's even better. They bring Alice which way. Oh, fine. Anything they give you from Fulani, you take. And you're an intellectual. Intellectualism, backwalk, Ndara. The same local outfit the Yoruba people and their media kicked against in Igbo land. And formulated other propaganda against us is today what they are doing in Yoruba land. Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. That is your lot in life when you have traitors and cowards as men and leaders. The same Ohanese and useless Igbo leaders that criticized and cajoled and castigated me for forming BSS without arms to protect our people against terrorists, against Fulani terrorism. Today, praising Yoruba. Can you believe that? Nyamodo Kanu was praising the Yoruba for forming Amotekun to defend Yoruba land. But when we did something, they were against us. The highest form of hypocrisy. So they cannot turn around and say, oh, those intellectual, we are intellectual miscreants. We are miscreants, but we're intellectual. Those intellectual miscreants, that thing they did is very good, or they'll never say it. But when a Yoruba man does it, it's very good. But when their own does it, oh no, it's very bad. That is leadership for you. Black people. This UG. Very black indeed. Very, very sad indeed, I must say. And they have declared, you see how clever they are. I told you, they've declared it illegal. Amotekun is illegal. But they have Sharia police, they have Hisbah. They have what is called a civilian JTF with AK-47 in the north. They have all manner of vigilantes armed and from the north. That once you try to defend your mother, your wife, and your family, you're a terrorist. You are illegal. What you're doing is outside the law. That's according to Alimajiri. Allow me to reiterate. Any day, I'm saying this now very clearly. I know there are some Afonja, those are called the Afonja Yoruba, those that come from the stock that will always remain loyal to the caliphate. The Afonja Yorubas within the Yoruba leadership will be saying to the people, oh, don't believe what Nnamdi Kanu is saying. They want to bring us out and then abandon us. We are men of honor. Men of honor. And they know it. And they know that we know that they know that we are men of honor. We will support you every step. We will commit our men into what you're doing if you want us to. Because what you have done is the only way forward for the protection of lives and properties of Yoruba people. And we commend it. We commend it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. We say kudos and well done to you. If you need our help, you will get it. You want us to remain in a zoo where a fourth-placed individual in a governorship race in Imo State is now all of a sudden the winner. From number four to number one. Yeah, my goodness. How many of you now still believe that when we call for boycott, you should boycott? It has now been decided in this thing, in Abuja. When public discourse, as somebody was quite rightly commenting earlier today, when public discourse is filled with people that find grammatical sequencing more alluring than common sense, you know that you are in one almighty mess. This is our lot now in Biafra land. The time has come for us to pocket our what I call primitive intellectualism that is slowly destroying us as a people and allowing Fulani to take over our lives to the point of now appointing who is going to be your governor. That's what they mean. Do all your voting, all your campaigning, all your nonsense, all your ballot snatching. At the end of the day, you go to court in Abuja, and Abuja decides what happens. And then they will come and tell is it Abaka? This is what we're going to do. They say God told you. He'll come out and say, "Oh, God told me that is it who is it? That's not the sensible governor in our land. Oh goodness me! God said that they will be removed. They've told him that what is going to happen. They just say it. Let's see the reaction of the people. Some of you don't even know what is kite flying. Do you know what is kite flying? Is a very subtle way to gauge your reaction before they do something. That's what they have just done with Mbaka. But it's the work of God. Hey, unbelievable. Unbelievable. This time we're living in right now is so desperate that only the discerning can see the handwriting on the wall. This is not the time for zoo intellectual garbage. This is the time for action. And that action has to start from Imo State because Fulani Caliphate have stolen Imo State from us because they control the guns, they control the judiciary, they control the news outlets. They have fools that hide under the banner of Western religion to condition our minds for slavery. They made it look as if it was that idolatrous, graven image worshipping Mbaka that divinely decreed that Hope Uzodinma should win. This is the level of our hopelessness in Biafra land, which IPOB is seeking to correct morning, noon, and night. We don't have the time nor place for such nonsense. We must speak the truth, and that truth is coming forth. The Fulani Caliphate and the British before them have succeeded in rendering our land useless because there is always, they always find willing tools and traitors amongst us, determined to do whatever it takes to serve their masters. The British started this nonsense with their warrant chief system, as I said earlier, which some communities converted to Igwe and Eze. The same nonsense that play now with governors' lodges across Biafra land. Unless our people listen, Bayelsa has fallen to APC. Imo has gone to APC. Anambra will go to APC next year. And before you know it, the stage is set for total Fulanization of our land. And by then it'll be too late. Very, very late because our people do not listen. Only IPOB can be trusted to defend and save our land. Only IPOB. Those risking eternal Fulani slavery are those advising you to go against IPOB. Anybody asking you to rise against IPOB is working for Fulani Caliphate. There, and I will write it down on a piece of paper. Anybody advising, go and look at their master. Go and look at the person who sustains them or the person who buys them data. That person is a Fulani stooge. That is the way it goes in our land. And that is something that we must correct as a people. When it comes to politics in the zoo, we are dealing with wild beasts, animals of the jungle. We are dealing with low-life scumbags that will sell their arm for crumbs, falling off the master's table. Our land is completely encircled with Johannes and Dioshin and Herma. I don't know what they call themselves. Igbo and all the rest of them that always travel to Lagos. This is a circle of conspirators. They have come to enslave, to condition. No matter what the Fulani does these days, none of you get angry anymore, of course, except IPOB. They rape your mother. So it's another news. And that's just news. You just dismiss it. No more righteous indignation. None. Because they have conditioned your mind. No matter what they do to you, you accept it. When we get our presidency, we'll correct everything. Some people such rubbish. The same people that went against IPOB, that the ones today issuing press statements saying that Fulani headsmen, they have license to kill without arrest, but you killed your own people. You called the same people, the same headsmen who are licensed to kill. This is from the mouth of Ohaneze and Yoshi. The same people who are licensed to kill, the same people who kill innocent men, women, and children without arrest. IPOB formed BSS to confront them. You were the ones that went to the same people and asked them to come and kill IPOB family members. But today you're talking that Fulani headsmen are licensed to kill. If they are licensed to kill, who is going to stop them? When somebody is a rampaging madman or mad woman, some people must stop that very person or group of persons. Who is going to stop them? It's not IPOB. Who else can stop them? Yorubas have formed a Amoteku to go to stop the Fulanis doing something in their land. Who is going to defend our land if not IPOB? Who will do it? Because those you're hoping to go and recruit, they are all IPOB. Oh my goodness. Those people, I know that the hottest place in hell is reserved for them. Very evil men. Common apology, they can't apologize that they got it wrong. That what they did was wrong. No, they won't do it. But all we do is we come on Facebook and write rubbish every blessed day, some of us, talking nonsense. Is the zoo safe? The answer is no. Southern Kaduna will form their own militia because or else they will be decimated. We are under constant attack. Southern Kaduna Resilience Sky. Every blessed day, these Fulani Janjaweed killing people. Every blessed day. And you're telling me about one Nigeria. Every day there is death, there is mayhem. They use a combination of media blackouts and British connivance to escape what I call international scrutiny and exposure. They go to court and they say to you, no, voting no longer counts in Nigeria. They don't like voting. No matter how you vote, they'll go to Supreme Court and they'll change it. The same thing is happening in our land. That Ohanese have now conditioned you. Whatever happens in Biafra land, oh, you just to go with it. Until you get your presidency. They are complaining. Amotekun is OPC in disguise. Who will do the work in the West? It's not OPC. Who's going to do it for them? Because they recognize it's OPC that will do it. The same way in Biafra land. The same way in Biafra land. Only IPOB can defend our people. No other person can. The same way in the West, only OPC can form a Amotekun to defend Yoruba people. The same way that only IPOB can. You don't want people to have their own militia or people to defend them, but in the North, you went outside the Constitution to create your own little groups. The Sharia police, the other day they said they arrested 10 prostitutes. Sharia police, not set up by the Constitution of Nigeria, but Sharia police. in the north. And the same person is telling you, you cannot form vigilante to defend you cannot form your own police. But they have 4 or 5 police, different police, should I say, I won't call it department, formations in the north. 4 different police formations in the north. But if you come to do your understanding, no, and what is illegal, PSS is illegal, you cannot do it. But these people here, this Sharia police are arresting 32 street workers. Are they established by the laws of the land or by the constitution? The answer is no. But because it is Fulani, who anything they want, they get. Anything Fulani wants, they get. And the only people who can stop them, which is IPOB, all our people do is to gossip against, or write rubbish against IPOB, to gossip, including the Dennis Abos of this world, that claims is a journalist for Vanguard. That's all they do. They are the ones killing you. These are the people killing you. Anybody asking you to be against IPOB, investigate that very person, either himself or his master. He is a Fulani slave. They are the ones that want you to be Fulanized. They want to Islamize you. They want to destroy you. That is the way it is. And that is also a fact of life. For some of you who may not know, that is a fact of life. Death and destruction everywhere. Why do you have all of this? There's a place called Irigwe Land in Plateau. This no longer makes the news. On January 8th, 327 people killed. It's no longer news. When they organized to save themselves, they asked them to go to DPO of the local area, the same DPO that is Fulani Janjaweed, Alimajiri, during the killing. Before we know it, my only happiness is that all these broadcasts we make, we have them stored in archive somewhere. That's why I love IPOB. Anytime something happens, they just, I don't know how they do it, they're going to pick out one broadcast where such issue was treated in the past, and revelations made about what is to happen in the future. They just play it. And some of you are repenting. And I'm glad that some of you are repenting. Because I don't hate anybody. We don't hate anybody. I can't come out and say something nasty about somebody who is a pleasant human being. It's not possible. If I do that, that means I'm not a nice person myself. If I come out to castigate anybody who is innocent, then I'm no longer doing the work of Chukwu Kabiam. Anybody I tell you is bad is bad. Go up, down, sideways, the person is bad. In the fullness of time, you will see it. And I've told you. You're telling me you have leaders in a land, in Enugu State. They came to Nimbo, they killed us. And when they were killing us, Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi was calling somebody that said it was Buhari then. The person never answered. He called the 82 Division, they never answered. He called the police, they never answered. Until the Fulani finished killing our people and they left. Only then did they come. From then till now, those that tried to do something to stop such occurrence in the future, they conspired against them. They brought in Fulani to kill IPOB. Therefore, if your mother has been raped, if your community has been invaded, if your farm produce has been destroyed, blame it on Ohaneze, blame it on Igbo governors, blame it on those that claim they live in Lagos and in Abuja, doing intellectual work for the Fulani. They're the ones to blame, not us. Because today, how many of you have called to support the efforts we are making in Ebonyi to stop Fulani headsmen from taking foothold there? Some of you don't know. You don't know. Do you? 327 killed. And who is doing the killing? All Fulani. They're the ones doing the killing. They are the only people allowed to kill other people. Remember when they went to my barrister's house and destroyed everything and killed 10 people there? But I've been waiting since the bandits ambushed the Nigerian Air Force. I think it was Thursday of last week in a place called Brennan Gwari Road in Kaduna State. Yes, Kaduna Brennan Gwari Road. Were any houses destroyed? These are bandits. They killed Nigeria Air Force. I'm asking, Nigeria Police, Nigeria Army, DSS, did you burn people's houses in Kaduna as a result of this? The answer is no. But if this were to happen anywhere else, they will come, they will destroy buildings. They are still setting our markets on fire. When this fire outbreak started, I told them it was caused by Fulani people, that this was terrorism. They didn't believe me. Today it's happening. Now they are killing people now in Kaduna. These are Fulani bandits in the north, killing people in the north. Have they stopped? The answer is no. Anybody arrested? No, of course not. Nobody has been arrested. That you're telling me that I should belong to one Nigeria. And they're even telling themselves to speak out against insecurity, the way they spoke out during Jonathan's regime. Those who are doing the killings, those who are doing the killings in the north are all Fulani people. That is a fact of life. That is only what they know to do. Because tomorrow they will come and claim that the lawlessness in the country is caused by people who are from outside. But I must commend the lives of Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka. I think I pronounced his name correctly. Who said quite rightly so or tried to echo what we've been saying, that the only difference between the federal government and Boko Haram is that Boko Haram is holding a bomb. The federal government of Nigeria, believe you me, is a terrorist creation. You know, America may accuse other countries of financing terrorism, but I'm telling you, I am telling our listeners this evening that the primary driver of terrorism in Nigeria is the Nigerian government. They are the terrorists. But by the day you realize it, it may be a bit too late. But we keep saying it, that they are the harbingers of terrorism in the zoo. And they claim, as I said before, that illiteracy is the cause of their problem. They don't go to school. They've been ruling Nigeria. They are the ones ruling. They control NMPC. They control customs. They control the air. They control the sea. They control land. Everywhere. They're everywhere. Stealing money, making money, looting money. But they don't go to school. And now they are saying that because of their high level of illiteracy, that more terrorists will emerge from the northern part of Nigeria. But Britain loves them. In fact, the more terrorists they produce, the more Britain loves them. The more they are reducing the number of people. I have said this thing before, and I will say it. I don't know how correct I am, but something tells me that it is right. Somebody somewhere loves the population reduction work of terrorism in Africa. The only way you can solve that, I think I read that Boris Johnson said he will try the best he can to defend Christians. The best way for you to defend Christians is to make sure that Nigeria is divided. Divide Nigeria, you will save lives. Keep Nigeria one and people keep dying. As simple as that. Yes, he actually said it in the Telegraph. Telegraph reported that Boris Johnson, the new UK Prime Minister, said that he will protect persecuted Christians abroad, following a bishop carried out a review in their place. How do you, this is what I want the Southern Kadunans to understand. I want the Middle Belt to understand, and I want our people in the West to also understand that the only way to save lives in Nigeria is by dividing Nigeria. If you say no to the division of Nigeria, the Fulani Islamization agenda, or should I say the Fulanization agenda of the Caliphate North, will continue unabated. Allow me to repeat. If you insist, I'm saying this both to, because what we can say is that once we have Biafra, the northern Christians can come to Biafra and live in Biafra land, if they so wish. If you keep Nigeria as one, the drive to Fulanize Nigeria will continue relentlessly. It's something they've signed up to, and they must do it. That very religious space or Christianity competing with Islam will not hold in Nigeria. It's impossible. Write it down somewhere. So what we're saying to Boris Johnson this very night is that the only way to ensure that lives are saved is to divide Nigeria. Let everybody go their own way, the same way we were before Lugard and the rest of his crew came along. Once you rise up to speak, I don't know if some of you actually know that Adamawa youths actually blocked the highway in Adamawa. I don't know if some of you know this. And nobody was shot dead. Nobody was killed because it's happening in the north because of incessant kidnapping. But they tell you, oh, there is insecurity in the southeast. There is kidnapping in Uzakole. Everywhere across the north. I told them, I don't know how to say it in English, but I say it in the language of heaven. I can see Hagabahon. They have killed so much people, spilled so much innocent Biafran blood that they have now turned and they are eating themselves. They have not, of course, they're still continuing killing people in the south, but they're also killing Christian minorities in the north. And I'm saying to the Christian minorities in the north, the only way you can be safe is in a nation called Biafra. Only if Biafra comes. Only if Biafra comes. Because even those who we are close to, because even I feel sorry for Sheikh Husani. He's been locked up. Nobody's campaigning for his release. Sheikh Husani has been framed and locked up. That is the Nigerian judiciary for you. That can wake up one morning and tell you that a man who came forth in an election is now number one and everybody's clapping. They have locked up Sheikh Husani and nobody is campaigning for his release. He's done nothing. If you criticize them, you're locked up. Will Britain do anything about it? Of course not. Britain loves what is happening. They love what is happening. It is their zoo. They can treat the animals however they wish. The story in Imo State, before we bring our program to a close this very evening, the story in Imo State is a very funny one. It's a very funny one, and we must do this maths for the whole world to understand how funny it is. And we must do this very maths for the world to understand. And the only credible way out of the mess in Imo State is for fresh elections to be held and for foreign observers to come in and to allow total live coverage of proceedings of that very electoral process. The idea of imposing hope, on the people of Imo is intolerable. I'm telling you the truth. Intolerable. I'll tell you why. This is what the world must understand about Nigeria. When we're no longer saying that Nigeria is corrupt. Nigeria's judiciary is so primitive that it needs help. Where that help will come from, I do not know. It needs help. And the sooner that zoo divides, the better for everybody. And I'll tell you why. A total of, listen carefully, according to INEC, the total number of people accredited to vote in Imo State, the total number was 823,743. Those allowed to vote, accredited to vote, according to INEC figures, Imo State governorship elections. But according to their figures, only 739 people, 485 voted. Out of that, 25,135 votes were cancelled or voided by INEC for irregularities, therefore leaving us with a total figure of 714,355, which means, in simple English, for somebody to emerge as the governor of Imo State, you must gain a majority of 714,355 votes, according to INEC. This is not according to anybody else, according to INEC. This is INEC. How, therefore, listen carefully, did the Supreme Court of Nigeria, sitting in Abuja, that we are not privy to the election, with INEC register in front of them, come to the ridiculous total of 927,630 votes? How was that done? INEC, listen carefully. INEC submitted figures and said, we accredited 823,000 people, 743 to vote in Imo State. Out of that, 739,485 actually voted. Now, what we're asking is, where did Supreme Court of Nigeria get 927,630 people? From where? Does it mean that Supreme Court in Abuja we are doing their own accreditation? I have no idea. I have no idea. But maybe the world or those they claim came to observe the elections can tell us something about this. It is quite perverse. Very, very perverse. Emeka Ihedioha has scored 273,000 votes. So 273,404 votes. Uche Nwosu, 190,364 votes. Ifeanyi Ararume, 114,776 votes. Hope Uzodinma, 96,458 votes. And other people, other parties had 39,433. Where did they get the number for Hope Uzodinma to bump him up to 309,000? Did they add the votes of other parties? Because let us not be stupid. Uche Nwosu campaigned under a different political party, registered and contested under a different political party, not APC. So my struggle is, where did they get 213,299 votes from to give to Hope Uzodinma? From where? I can't see it here. Did they combine I can't understand. Did they combine the vote of Uche Nwosu, Ararume, and Hope Uzodinma? Nobody knows. What is going on? What type of country is Nigeria? What type of legal system? How can people now stand up and say that those people are learned, my learned lord, my learned, whatever they call themselves? Do you see our problem with Nigeria? Can you at least understand our problem with Nigeria and see that Nigeria is unsalvageable? Nigeria is irredeemable. There is something devilish and satanic about Nigeria. They lie, they cheat. It is in their nature. Being a Nigerian means you're a liar. You are a liar. You're a cheat. You're a thief. That's the meaning of Nigeria. How can judges sitting in the Supreme Court come to this type of should I say devil's arithmetic? How did they come to these numbers? Because Nigeria is corrupt. The world needs to understand. The world, Britain must understand this. That unless somebody somewhere is enjoying the killing, the misery, and the pain that people are going through, the best thing to do is to allow people to go their separate ways. That is the only way to solve this very problem. And this charade cannot hold any more state. It's simple, because people shouldn't analyze too much. The question is simple. To the Supreme Court of Nigeria, to the Chief Justice Tanko, the aeroplane turner, what he needs to answer is this very simple question. How did you get the extra votes to bump up INEC figures to 927,630? I don't forget all the analysis, because we are black people. If you go into complex analysis, people will not understand what you're saying. What I'm asking you is this: ask the Supreme Court a very simple question: from where the accredited number of voters in Imo State was 823,743 votes. How did you get 900 and something? From where? Are you saying there were those that came to vote for Hope Uzodinma and INEC said they won't accredit them? Is that the evidence before you? Because that is the only logical or plausible explanation. That there were some people that came to vote, and when they came to vote, the INEC said, "Oh, who are you going to vote for? Oh, Hope Uzodinma. Because of that, you're not going to. I won't accredit you." Is that what you're saying? Because if that is not what you're saying, I don't want people to over-label this issue. Is very simple. The question we are asking the Supreme Court of Nigeria is, how did you arrive at a total figure, a ridiculous total figure of 927,630, when INEC themselves that conducted the elections on the ground only accredited 823,743 votes? And if I may ask, if you're saying that those who were not accredited, I'm just assuming that you're saying that those who weren't accredited were going to vote for Uzodinma, for Hope Uzodinma. How would you know this as a judge? Are you not supposed to base your judgment or your ruling on the facts before you? How are you going to know that they would have voted for Hope Uzodinma? The world must know that this is why we call Nigeria a zoo. Not that we hate anybody. The people, the animals, it's just unbelievable. And people, rather than coming out and looking at the injustice inherent in this ruling, people are saying, oh, leave it. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. Let's leave it until next time. Was that what America did and they got to where they are today? Or any other civilized country for that matter? How can people learn from this? So that is why we are saying no, and we are not going to allow this travesty to continue. This is as a result of the situation that Britain put us in, as a result of the continuation of the one Nigeria mantra championed by Nnamdi Azikiwe, championed by Nzogo, championed by Aguiyi, championed by the Fulefus in Ohanese, that has kept us in bondage till this very day. Those chains are what IPOB is here to break, and we are breaking them. We are making progress, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that is going to stop us. That is why everybody must join IPOB. You must support IPOB. You must encourage IPOB. You must do everything within your powers to make sure that IPOB succeeds where you are, because we are the only, I want to say last line of defense, we are the only line of defense between you and Islam, should I say, Islamization of our homeland. Only IPOB. We are in Ebonyi right now, fighting in the bushes to keep our land away from the vandals from Sahel. You should be grateful to IPOB every blessed day as you pray to God each day. Before you ask God to bless you, ask God to bless IPOB. Before every blessed day. Because we are the ones defending our land. No other person is. We are the ones dying to defend you. You may not know, but we are the ones doing the very hard work. Some people in the diaspora from Ebonyi now, they know. Some of them called to thank IPOB to say they never knew what we were doing on the ground until people rang them from the village to say if not for IPOB, they would have been finished by now. That is why we know our work is divine. And that is why we know we have come here to fulfill a divine mandate. And that very mandate is the restoration of Biafra, which is why we proudly and unequivocally proclaim that Biafra is our religion. When you ask me my religion is Biafra. Because Chukwu Okike Abiama, the God Almighty, Supreme Elohim in heaven, is our God. Those are the things you must know. We are not going away. Biafra is coming. And there is nothing the enemies will ever do to detract us from that very inevitable reality. I thank you all for listening. From me, from here, it is good evening.
you.